I'll introduce our first speaker for today, Ashan. Ashan has been an active IEEE volunteer for over 10 years, currently serving as the chair of the Vitality Subcommittee at IEEE-YP. His IEEE involvement includes roles as Revitalization Lead, IEEE-YP, and Oceania Region Affinity Group Coordinator. He has also contributed to the IEEE Sri Lanka chapter, including as Industrial Coordinator and a founding chair of IEEE Y2N Pro, and served as treasurer of IEEE-YP. As a PhD student in the Power, Energy and Control Engineering Research Group at the University of Queensland, Ashan researches controller coordination in hybrid power plants. He holds a Bachelor of Science in Engineering honors and a Master of Philosophy in Engineering from the University of Pennsylvania, with research interests in system strength enhancement. Beyond his professional work, Ashan is a volunteer, photographer, and a chorister. Welcome, Ashan. We're looking forward to hearing more about your work with IEEE-YP, and I'll let you share the slides now. Over to you, Ashan.
Thank you. Thank you, Anu. Thanks for the invitation. Let me share my screen. Yeah. Hope you can see my screen now.
Yes, all good.
Yeah. So I'm presenting basically one of the important aspects of the vitality. As Anu introduced, I am serving as the vitality chair for the IEEE, as the vitality chair of vitality subcommittee in IEEE Young Professionals Global Chapter. So before we begin, let me break the ice. So we need to identify what is the elephant in the room. So there are two things. One thing is what is young professionals, and the other thing is what is vitality. So what is young professionals? Does anyone know the correct definition? Who would you recognize as a young professional in the ecosystem? You can drop your response in the chat box. Yeah, two responses came through: less than 10 industry experience, graduates, and people under 15 years of professional experience. Yeah, people are finishing their graduate school and moving to the workforce. Okay, pretty much everything is summing up bits and pieces. So the people we recognize as YP are the membership in IEEE Young Professional is automatically given to a graduate students or higher member grades within first 15 years of their first professional degree. Okay, so that means technically once you get your bachelor's, you are eligible to become IEEE YP member. That will come automatically. But beyond after 15 years, if you wish to serve to the YP community, still you can join as a YP, still you can maintain your YP membership and serve to the community. So that's how sort of the general definition is graduates within first 15 years of their first degrees. Otherwise, there are people can merge in the meantime. The second thing is what is vitality. So there are three things. One is that liveliness, engaged, and purposeful. So basically, vitality is the indication whether you are delivering, you are working actively and engage with your membership and serve very purposeful delivery service to the YP community. So let's see what is the YP vitality landscape for the 2024. So at the moment, we have nearly 240 affinity groups and total around 35,000 of YP members. And we conducted around 1,425 events in 2024. So if you can see the demographic, you see the charts. So most of the YP community, as you know that we have 10 regions globally. When it comes to the membership, majority of cohort is coming from the region 10, and then there is another cohort coming from region 8. And when it comes to the event, region 8, 9, 10, and sort of dominant. And the affinity group distribution is pretty interesting because region 8, 9, 10 share in the majority of the share, while the other 7 regions sharing less than 50%. Then there is another interesting fact because from region 1 to 6, everything is located in the USA or the North America continent. Region 8 is basically Europe and South Europe and Africa region, African countries. Region 9 is Latin America, and region 10 is rest of the world, starting from sort of Southeast Asia, from Southeast Asia to East Asia and Oceania. So it's the largest geographic region in the entire IEEE. So when we move to the YP, this is how the YP has been structured. So we have our YP Global Committee, where I am serving as a subcommittee chair, and our YP Global Chair is Savitya Sivakumar. She was also a proud product of R10 volunteers who are serving in the IEEE. And then we have three different directives. One is what we call Society Council representatives, or the Society Council YP sections. Basically, we have, I can't remember the exact number, but around 50 or so technical societies and councils. So they have their own YP memberships they can maintain, YP affinity groups associated with them. And they have another YP community. And then we have our regional young professionals community, where Anu, Aish, and Samita are coming from. This group is basically taking care of the activities going under their regions. They are sort of managing with the regional activities. And then we have our section young professionals, such as the other people like Ling and so on. So this is where the most of the YP volunteers are directly interact with the IEEE ecosystem. So the services delivered to the IEEE YP community is happening through the section young professionals affinity group. Then this is how the YP vitality, or the relationship between our MGA board and the YP affinity group is works on. So you can have two pathways. One is the section. Then if some countries have the councils, otherwise you can directly move towards the directly move to the section. Then it will coordinate with the region possibly, and then for the MGA. Then when it comes to the other track, there will be a regional YP that is working with the YPAG, and then they will have coordinate with the global YP, and then we have the MGA board guidelines, so the delivery is coming through. So how do we recognize whether your chapter is as an active chapter, or what is the measure to consider the YP vitality? Does anyone know how to consider a chapter as an active chapter? What is the minimum guideline, minimum requirement to recognize your chapter as an active chapter? Okay, 4 events per year. At least 2 events per year. And should have 10 plus members, 2 events per year. Okay, good. Most of them are considering one aspect. Basically, we are considering two aspects, as this is based on the MGA manual, and there is no specific chapter for the IEEE YP. It is generalized for the entire affinity groups. So for the affinity group, consider that as an active affinity group, you need to report at least 2 events in the IEEE reporting mechanism, and must maintain at least 6 IEEE members as the membership. So this is the minimum requirement to recognize your chapter as an active chapter. What happening if it is not functioning? That is pretty interesting. So in the first year, if it is not happening, if it is not functioning properly, in the immediate year after that, that means that you have not reported at least 2 events, or you are not maintaining 6 members. Either of these criteria are satisfied. Immediate next year, you will be put into a probation period. So in the probation, you can stay there up to 3 years, and annually, probably through the regional coordinator, or there is a smart sheet dashboard that we are working on. There is automated process. If something is not happening up, or the events are not reporting, you will get a notification that your section is delinquency, and will share with your parent organization it as well, and that will report to the MGA board as well. If this pattern continues for 3 years, then after the third year, their decision will take to dissolve. And once it dissolves, you have to restart the reinstate process. There are 2 tracks. One is that you can convey the MGA, appointing a potential chair, and express of interest in reactivating within the first 60 days after the dissolution decision taken. Then the chapter can be survived without dissolving further or completely dissolving it. Otherwise, you have to go through the petition process and start the reinstate or re-establishment or reformation or the revitalization process whole again as a new chapter formation. So are we there? Yes, this is our dormant chapter summary. So annually at the moment, like we are considering 2023, the basic criteria is whether they are satisfying either of them. So most of the time they are satisfying the membership guidelines, but oftenly they are not maintaining or reporting the minimum 2 events. So that is the main criteria we selected to filter out these statistics. So as you can see, this is our state. So considering the number of ages, and from when it comes to the year, we have at least nearly closer to maybe 10% of the dormant ages globally. And sorry, it's not globally. So in the different regions, according to the different percentages of the dormant ages have been identified in this year. So then we little bit dig deeper to understand what could be the reason why this is happening. So otherwise we can't provide a solution as the Vitality Committee, or in the global level or in the local regional level. So first we need to understand what is the, then we identify what are the challenges that mainly impacted on maintaining these vitality activities. The major thing we found is the reporting. So most of the chapter reports are not up to date. And when it comes to reporting, in the IEEE, there is a tool called vTools. So most of the officers, events, and everything, scheduling, e-notices, everything can be done through this vTools interface. So, but what we found is that most of the time, the reporting is not up to date or not coming in on time. And the other thing is what we noticed is the improper committee transition and officer reporting. So some of the committees has been reported their officers, most of the dormant ages that we identified. Some of may have reported their last officer in 2 or 3 years back. And they don't have a good governance mechanism to transition of the officers. So who is going to be governed for the next couple of years? So you have to certain maintain line of command or the chain of command to uh, identify the people and place them in your committee to take the baton after the current chair is finishing their term. The next issue is what we identify as the communication. So some of them may not actively participating in their section meeting, because section is the parent or you belong to section YP. So that they should have a good communication between they should have a good rapport maintained between the YP leadership and the section leadership. So otherwise you can't operate a proper YP activities within a region. Then sometimes we identify that there is a compromised relationship between local regional committees and local AGs. Some of the AGs don't know what is the reason, but would like to operate independently. So the regional AGs, regional leaders may not have aware of who is doing what in that case. And sometimes if the first part, like if they didn't have the rapport with the section chairs, the section chair don't know what is going on with the YP. So all sort of these communication issues are there. Then the other thing is training and development. So as I told you, the vTools is the one that we are sort of relying on. I'll show you why that is important. And there are training videos and everything has been provided by the IEEE, but the people who are coming to the helm don't really follow them, or they don't really don't know how to use them properly. So you can do all sort of things there. You can report your officers, you can report your events, you can schedule your events, you can circulate e-notice, everything can be done through that. But that part is quite lacking with when the new leadership comes in, and the sections may not pay in that much attention there. I don't know what is the reason, but if you are new, you should be given a proper training or the knowledge to take the baton, or the how you should know how to use it. So that part is something lacking, that what we identify as the challenges. So we sort of come up with certain measures that might be helpful, especially for the reporting activity. Uh, uh, yes, thanks for that feedback. Actually, all these rebates and everything are now sort of automated within the YP section, and that part is taking the data through the vTools reporting. Okay, so one thing is that you should pay a little bit more attention on your event management. So when it comes to the event count, as I said, you don't have to do massive technical events. You can conduct meetings, you can collab with other OUs. So if you are a reviving AG, let's say you have not been functioned for last 2 years or last year or last 2 years, then immediately it is hard for somebody who is coming to the chair position can take the baton and continue or maintain the maintain the sprint as before. So instead, the best way is you can collab with other OUs, like you can collab with section or you can collab with any other affinity groups, other technical societies like PES, MTTS, EMBS, etc. And you can collab with them and help them to do the event. Like you can find their speakers and they can do the funding or the organization part. That sort of collaboration can count your will impact on your event count. Then the uh, you can apply for the funding. YP funds are there. You can visit to the. I'll share this if possible. Anu may be able to circulate these slides among you, so these hyperlinks will work in that case. So YP has YP local activity fund, step fund, and I can't remember there is a third one as well. So in the R10, we have the upskill as I show you, and then the Nexus has a funding scheme for the reviving ages. So there are funds. So you can, if you have a good plan, the proposals are not that much comprehensive proposals. They are very simple and you can apply for them. Then you will have some sort of money to maintain your, you get in your operations running through. Then the other important thing is you need to have a good governance plan. Like operating as a chair for the single entity doesn't help you at all. So once you have been gone, like everyone needs a break, right? So whenever you take a break, there should be someone behind you who should aware of what you are doing there. So the other advice I could give you is that form a committee, at least 3 people. So then if one is not there, then you will have 2 more coming behind you. Try to maintain like within the same age group or someone with bit senior and someone with bit junior. So then you have a good transition as well. And then do everything through the vTools. That will be pretty easy for you to track your things. So once you go there and if you enter your geocode with your chapter, it will pop up. All the history can be extracted through that for volunteers or the officers if you have the access. Uh, for the YP, we have a different different tool we are using for the YP Global. I'll show you that in a couple of slides. That is what we call Smartsheet dashboard. That will provide that will extract the data from the vTools and provide the much comprehensive overview for us. Then the coordination and communication. To improve the coordination and communication, the best thing you could do is the participate actively. Go for the meetings, go for the section meetings, come for the events, meetups like this. This is the way that you can make your presence aware to the others. Hey, there, I am here, that I'm doing something in this part of the world. So for example, I would say my case, most of the IEEE global meetings are happening in the US time zone. So that is like +5 from GMT. I am in the -10 of the GMT. So the time difference is 15 hours. But we are going there to contribute that, showing that we are there for you guys. If you want support, we are here, we are committed. So if you can provide that sort of a commitment, then it would be pretty much good experience for you guys, and the others will appreciate it. They know that they can trust on you. So this guy or this girl will provide us the support that we need. So that is one thing, one important thing for the communication part. Then try to maintain good relationship with your section leads and the regional coordinators, because section lead is the first point of contact and the regional coordinator is sort of the next level of the contact. But if you can maintain this relationship, they are also there to help you. If you don't know to do something, ask them. They are the one, they will have much experience, more than you, probably 10 to 20 years maybe, especially section leads. So then they will be help you to put the things together. Okay, we'll do something like that. And or that depends on the person, to be honest, but in general, they are there for you to help. Then always try to circulate e-notices when something is happening, pop up them in the social media is a pretty I would say now it is the mass communication channel in the entire world. So when you're forming a committee, please keep at least one person to tackle that challenge. Especially LinkedIn and Facebook is sort of okay for some regions, but I would highly recommend to go with LinkedIn because LinkedIn is pretty active in some countries. So please allocate one dedicated person, preferably someone from that particular geolocation, a national the whoever, a citizen of that particular country. That will give you a good benefit for reaching the uh, you enhance your reach to the community through the social media. So those are the things that you can do to improve the coordination and communication. And another important thing is when you are using the social media, try to identify like what is the best channel to cater your country. Like I said, some countries LinkedIn must be pretty much better. Some countries the Facebook or Twitter or the Instagram might be better, like that. Then training and development. There are plenty of tools available. When you become a chair, the first thing I would say, go and refer to the MGA operation manual for your chapter. So what is the part that you need? For the YP, it is, I think, from page 122 or so. So when I was appointed as the vitality chair, that is the first thing I do. I did. I understand what is the requirement to consider that as the vitality. Then vTools and e-notices, the tutorials are there in the web and the wiki, I think. Then R10 YP Web and R10 Web has a lot of informations. Then YP Leaders Wiki is there in the internet. They have some sort of details. And now we sort of YP Vitality Committee is now providing some more tools there, and more information, or the booklets or the training guides are going in preparations with this to provide the leaders. Then the training and development from the sections and regions, ask for the help. So you can request, if you don't know anything, you can reach them out. Okay, we need some sort of training for our officers, especially like organizing V2s or something. These things will come in. But if you don't know how to run an event, if you don't know how to write for a proposal or some sort of thing, ask for them. They will arrange a training session for you. If they can't, they will reach back to there is an entire training section in the IEEE YP committee. They will be help you. So the help is there. All you have to do is asking. If you ask, they will come back to you. So with that, the first part of my presentation is sort of over. This is basically the outline of what is YP. So I will quickly jump into the subcommittee and what we are doing as in the global level. So basically our role is to ensure the sustainability and support the reviving dormant ages and initiate and to facilitate forming the new affinity groups. Then our objectives for this year are the reducing dormant AG count and form new AGs and introduce the evaluation frameworks for the AG vitality. We have 4 projects running in parallel. Vitality Playbook, basically the operations manual for the YPs. It will be shared in next couple of, probably within this month, we will be able to circulate the first version for all the AG leaders. Then the Catalyst is basically a project with data analysis, and Sparkplug is to provide the support package, and Amplify is to initiate the collaborations. This is the committee. We have a pretty diverse committee. So I'm in the lead, and Sachinta is for the leads the operations pillar, and Tarushi for to lead the administrative pillar. If you look at this, there is a good diversity. There are people from different regions. There is a reason that I recruit them in these different regions, because different regions are operating in different way. So if I am from R10, I am from Sri Lanka section, which is one of the active sections within the R10. But if I'm trying to implement that strategies in R1, it is not going to work. Okay. If I'm trying to implement that in even in Australia, it is not going to work. So you need to have people from that ecosystem to understand how it works. So that's why I'm saying, read the structure or the strategy that is operating and comply accordingly with them. Then as the vitality subcommittee, what our philosophy is that vitality operations are vested on the regional coordinators or the section leads that is in the regional boundary or law. Because the reason is, if the global committee is continuously going in there and try to do the operations in section or the section level, that may not reflect on the good. It is not a good governance practice. It is sort of like somebody is going from somewhere and do a foreign invasion on another country, something like that, in my opinion. Therefore, we clearly demarcate the boundary. We are there to help in the global level. The help packages, support materials, everything is under preparation now. Probably end of this month it will come out. And regional committees has the responsibility to maintain the vitality activities. If they need support, they can come back to us. But we are doing the overseas or the monitoring. If we feel that they need support, and if they are not asking from us, then in such occasion, we might get intervene, or we will come to a negotiation like, okay, what do you need to do? If you need us, we'll there. If you don't, it's fine. We can come up to an agreement and how we can support these AGs to revive or some sort of, that is a sort of operation philosophy we are working on. So we have sort of a standard activity plan. It's like 18 weeks, sort of 16 weeks plan. Basically, if we initiate a new chapter formation or YP revival, it will take 2 to 4 weeks to establish to get the communication established, identify a chair, and assigning sort of mentors to support them. I think R10 has a good plan for that through the Nexus project, if I'm not mistaken. So they have that sort of arrangement in place already. That is pretty good. And then in the activation, it will take like 4 to 12. So within the very first meeting, we will introduce them what's your work plan, and then in the 4 weeks time, we will provide them we will allow them to work on the progress monitoring, annual planning and training. Then in another 12-week time, we will let them to see whether they can sustain or not. That sort of activities are there. So the 3 projects we are working on, one what we call the catalyst. This is basically I told you that the general recognition is that the 2 events and 6 members criteria, but that is sort of a spot measurement for us. So instead, we are sort of getting some new matrices, like considering the trends of the events and event to member ratio, and then the officers reporting and everything. And then we are sort of getting a score for them. So for example, now this is, I think, from region 1. So if you look at the Birmingham section, it will consider as an active section, but the quality is not up to the standard. Okay, so that way it will be more reflective. Even though the section is in an active state, in future there is a risk that it is going towards somewhere that it may require the revival. Okay, so the vitality check toolbox almost done. Now we are working on the new chapter formation, health check analysis. Similar thing, like if somebody asks you to establish a new chapter, we will collect some data and see whether we will feed to our system and see whether it is good to go with the new chapter, because you establish it, but in couple of years, if we see that okay, it is not going to survive, then the effort is worthless. So that way it will give you a good framework or understanding about how we can move forward. Then in the spark plug, as I told you, the toolbox, the documentation, the samples for the social media, the things are under preparations at the moment. So we are sort of drafting the email draft for the that can be used by anyone in the FYP ecosystem, will be available through the Leaders Wiki. Then we are sort of getting some feedbacks for the committee chair experiences, like what are the revitalization activities that we may need to initiate to streamline this further, and everything will be included in the playbook that is sort of the Bible for the vitality operation. Then in the Amplify, it is basically a chapter. It is sort of initiative to enable AG leaders to share their best practices, learn from each other, and solutions to some sort of common challenges, and empower the AGs with their operations. For example, now I know that the Queensland section is just coming up. So in such case, we can link them up with another part of the world or another section that is performing very well to get them on board or give them ideas. Okay, these are things you could do, something like that. So that is happening in the global scales, and this is closely related to R10 enable, but going to do it in the global scale. So that sort of wind up the vitality operations and the related aspects. So if you have any questions, I'm pretty open we can take, I think, 5 to 10 minutes for the questions if possible.